I think that I've now, at 63 years old, suddenly owned that it's not a bad thing to speak your voice.
There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early.
The quiet calm in Montecito is reportedly shaking once again. And this time, it is not because of a fancy streaming project or a publicity idea that missed the mark. This latest situation sounds much more intense, as reports claim that Meghan Markle is in a serious emotional panic after Sarah Ferguson, also known as Fergie, supposedly chose to open up about old secrets that are now causing major whispers across royal circles and Hollywood groups. Rumors claim that Fergie shared details about Meghan and alleged yacht life stories, along with a possible link to a certain duke long before Prince Harry entered the picture. And these claims have grown into such dramatic gossip that sources say even Buckingham Palace quietly reacted behind private doors.
But I wonder...
Grab a warm cup of tea, because this is not just basic gossip. It feels like the kind of story that could shake the crown and make every Hollywood gossip reporter dance with excitement. Everything began quietly, almost suspiciously calm, while Fergie was promoting her new book during what looked like a gentle interview that focused on her personal healing journey and emotional growth. The moment felt peaceful and soft, until the interviewer casually brought up Meghan Markle and her modern influence on the royal family, and that single question changed the whole energy in the room like a sudden cold wind. Witnesses claim that Fergie stopped smiling, tilted her head slightly, and responded with a slow and thoughtful tone by saying, "Oh, Meghan." She then added, "Well, let us just say she is not the first young woman to be fascinated by royal life or the special benefits that can appear." The interviewer tried to laugh, but Fergie did not join, and instead she revealed a small, confident smile that looked incredibly knowing. She continued speaking and shared, "I remember a long time ago there were whispers about a certain yacht summer." She added, "You know, those glamorous trips where everyone is dressing up, seeking attention, and hoping that an important person notices them." The final statement that shocked everyone was, "Some of those faces ended up in very surprising places, including Buckingham Palace." That one comment immediately created a massive reaction from royal fans and online viewers who could not believe what they had just heard.
On Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's former home, Frogmore Cottage.
Sharp fans online quickly pointed out that there was a well-known yacht trip from the early 2000s that has followed Meghan on the internet for years, like a digital shadow that refuses to fade away. It was a series of glamorous private parties near Greece and Monaco, where models, rising Hollywood stars, and wealthy decision-makers mixed together like a real-life movie scene filled with sparkle and ambition. Rumors claim that a young and determined actress was present during those exclusive gatherings, and some whispers even mentioned that a royal guest joined as well. That royal guest was said to be Prince Andrew, also known as the Duke of York. Now, before anyone makes a wild jump, no one claimed that Meghan had a romantic connection with Andrew, but the idea alone was strong enough to create dramatic chaos that spread across royal conversations. Many people believe that Fergie's comments, whether by accident or design, reopened one of the most talked about and career-damaging chapters connected to Meghan long before she ever joined the royal family, which is known as the Yacht Girl allegations.
We're told to vacate Windsor's Royal Lodge, a source.
Within only a few hours, Twitter and TikTok exploded with the hashtag Fergie Said It, and people began sharing old photos, old blog theories, and long-forgotten rumor threads like a digital wildfire that refused to slow down. Many online voices even claimed that Fergie had basically confirmed whispered Hollywood connections that Meghan had tried to erase for years, according to past gossip. Reports from sources near Montecito said that Meghan was extremely upset and struggling to keep calm about what was spreading online. People close to her told the Mirror that she accused Fergie of jealousy and betrayal and firmly stated that she never met Prince Andrew in a social setting. They also said she described those yacht rumors as misogynistic lies that were created to destroy her name and reputation. Here comes the most surprising twist, because Fergie did not walk back anything she said or change her message. In fact, only one day later, she appeared even more confident about her comments. When paparazzi spoke to her outside Claridge's Hotel in London and someone asked, "Fergie, what did you mean about Meghan and the yacht summer?" she gave a calm smirk and replied, "Oh, darling, I do not tell tales. I just remind people that every fairy tale starts somewhere." That single line rushed across social media and entertainment news like a thunderbolt. Many believe that if anyone knows how to deliver a dramatic story with grace and a smile, it is Fergie. Behind private palace doors, some insiders claim that Buckingham Palace was not happy with how this turned into global drama. Even though Fergie has not been a main royal figure for many years, her words still carry serious power, especially when they involve a duchess who is already facing a delicate situation with the royal family.
And King Charles has very much been dragged into this. The king has been heckled during the...
One royal aide reportedly told the Daily Mail, "The palace has no interest in rehashing Meghan Markle's past," but Sarah's remarks could not have come at a worse time. The king is focused on unity, and this has reopened wounds that were barely starting to heal. In simple terms, many believe that Fergie poured gasoline onto a flame that the royal family hoped would finally disappear. This leads to a big question that many people are now wondering about. Why did Fergie do this now, especially when she knows what it feels like to face public embarrassment? Why would she take a major swing at Meghan and create a new storm of attention? Some palace sources claim that the answer is connected to respect or the feeling that respect was missing. They say that Fergie felt ignored by Meghan after more than one moment where the Duchess of Sussex seemed to treat her casually during the early stages of royal life. People remember the uncomfortable moment at Princess Eugenie's wedding when Meghan announced her pregnancy and changed the attention of the whole event. Insiders said that this moment made Fergie extremely upset because she felt it was classic Meghan and believed she turned another person's celebration into her own headline. So, when the chance appeared years later to quietly point toward Meghan's imperfect past, some sources believe Fergie could not resist a bit of royal payback. And many people like to say that when it comes to patience, planning, and silent revenge, the Windsors are known for impressive long-term strategy. At the same time, Hollywood reportedly slipped into quiet panic mode, and Meghan's public relations team was said to be working fast behind the scenes to manage online results and ask certain media outlets not to repeat old negative rumors. But as everyone knows, the internet never truly forgets anything once it becomes part of online history. Older blog posts began returning, saved photos started reappearing, and some former industry voices whispered about who Meghan once spent time with and how she entered certain social circles. Things grew even more intense because simply having Prince Andrew's name mentioned in the same conversation, even as a distant idea, created worry across public relations offices in Los Angeles. No public relations team wants their client linked in any way to Prince Andrew's serious controversies, even if it is only presented as light social speculation. One public relations insider was quoted saying, "If Fergie is hinting that Meghan was anywhere near that circle, even in a social way, it becomes a public relations nightmare because it is almost impossible to erase and you cannot put that genie back in the bottle." By the second day, worldwide headlines appeared everywhere with dramatic tone and bold writing. Titles included, "Fergie's cryptic comment sparks royal panic," "Montecito in meltdown," and "Meghan furious at Duchess Sarah's yacht remarks." People also asked one major question that spread across social media like lightning, which was Meghan's past more connected to the royals than anyone expected?
Publicly apologized for taking abusers' cash and vowed to cut.
It felt like the forgotten shadows from Meghan's life before royalty had stepped back into the spotlight. And this time, she could not redirect or soften the story no matter how hard she tried. Some sharp online viewers even began noticing something very unusual because her main website and lifestyle projects suddenly went completely silent, with no fresh posts, no new business updates, and no friendly sightings around Los Angeles, which felt quietly unsettling. Sources close to her private circle claim that she entered intense crisis discussions and demanded planned statements from her publicist while contacting older friends and even reaching out to Eugenie, who now felt trapped between her mother and her former friendly family connection in a very uncomfortable position. Things grew more dramatic because people connected to Fergie reportedly refused to soften their side of the situation and hinted that Sarah might have even more information to share. These supposed stories could explain who was seeking attention and who was chasing social opportunity during those early years before Meghan ever met Harry, which made this feel like the start of a much bigger situation. Meghan's team spent years trying to move her away from that chapter, which included yacht gatherings, networking groups, and Hollywood ambition long before her royal transformation. Now that Fergie seemed ready to speak, even if only through hints, it looked like the quiet royal rule of never exposing the past had been tested, and many believed that silent gates were slowly opening. Meghan's biggest worry might now be taking shape as her world before royalty meets her image after royalty right in front of the entire public audience. The once seemingly untouchable Duchess of Sussex suddenly appeared backed into a corner by Fergie's sharp confidence, growing online evidence shared by fans, and an older chapter of her life that refused to disappear no matter how far she moved forward. Many people began asking one major question, which was what Meghan planned to do next, because if there is one person who can respond with powerful determination, it is Meghan Markle herself. However, this time she was not facing a quick headline, a strict critic, or a palace worker, because her new opponent was another duchess who understood the royal world with serious experience, and some believed Meghan might soon learn what happens when you try to win against Fergie in her own arena. The quiet walls of Montecito felt smaller than ever, and when news spread that Sarah Ferguson openly mentioned Meghan's older social connections, it felt like a single spark landed in a room filled with emotional fuel, which created instant shock and tension. Reports claimed that Meghan was not simply unhappy, but deeply furious, and people close to her said she walked across her marble floors with her phone in her hand while sending fast messages to her trusted group. Her voice was described as short, sharp, and full of controlled intensity because this situation did not feel like casual gossip to her. It felt like a direct personal betrayal. She reportedly whispered, "After everything I have done for that family," while her disbelief shifted into rising anger. But she also remembered something from her early acting life, which was that when someone tries to control your story, you take the pen back. That was exactly what she planned to do because she refused to let anyone else write the next chapter of her story. Within only a few hours, her professional team, the same group that helped shape her journey from Duchess to powerful digital brand figure, jumped into motion with full focus and urgency. Private strategy talks, late-night calls, and a growing list of no-comment replies from representatives made it clear that something major was already forming behind closed doors. Sources claim that Meghan began working on what one insider described as her counter-narrative plan, and the mission was simple, which was to take back control of the spotlight before anyone else shaped the conversation. In traditional Meghan style, she reportedly aimed big and did not choose a quiet reaction because rumors said she contacted a major streaming executive to discuss a new type of documentary that would present her version of truth and show a modern duchess who refused to be shaken by whispers. However, there was a major issue because Fergie did not appear ready to step back or change her tone. Palace observers said that the Duchess of York, who recently enjoyed renewed public interest thanks to her confident humor, refused to share any apology. When asked about the growing feud, she simply smiled and said, "I do not think anyone should fear the truth, do you?" And that single line turned into a digital lightning strike. Tabloids immediately launched dramatic headlines and social media filled with comparison posts that labeled the situation as the Duchess who stayed versus the Duchess who strayed, which created extreme tension for Meghan. Her carefully polished public image built around calm colors, kindness messaging, and peaceful California living seemed to be pulled apart right in front of the world. Then came the most painful moment because someone began leaking older Hollywood photos from private events and yacht gatherings that looked glamorous but were completely removed from context. Online investigators did not care about real explanations because they focused entirely on dramatic storytelling and fast judgment. Meghan's earlier life chapters that had been quietly transformed were suddenly pulled apart picture by picture, which created a suffocating atmosphere inside Montecito, like a heavy emotional cloud. Harry was reportedly filled with intense anger, not only toward the palace or toward Fergie, but toward the way every single action they took seemed to create another overwhelming storm that they could not escape. He had tried many times before to protect Meghan from headlines, whispers, and non-stop public judgment. But this situation felt incredibly personal, especially since the Windsor family appeared to join together once again, while the woman he loved stood alone in the middle of emotional fire. However, Meghan was not planning to step back, because if people wanted a public relations battle, she was ready to respond with full strength. Soon after, a new series of carefully planned public appearances began to take place, and Meghan was seen leaving a private women's leadership event in Los Angeles with calm confidence while giving a gentle smile to cameras, as if she did not hear any of the dramatic noise around her name. Her style was described as simple, elegant, and perfect, which gave an image of total control. Yet behind that familiar polished smile, there seemed to be a very different emotion that looked like clear determination and inner strength. She reportedly told a friend, "Every time they come for me, I come back stronger." And many people believed it because her entire public image was built around resilience and emotional recovery. Anyone who assumed that a few dramatic headlines could break her spirit might have forgotten that she once walked away from royal life with confidence. Still, there were signs of pressure forming, and the situation did not appear to calm down. At the same time, Fergie continued her charming media approach and joined a daytime talk show where she shared light stories that felt warm but also hinted at deeper meaning. She avoided using names but mentioned royal newcomers who wanted special rewards before earning them, and the audience laughed while the short clip became viral online. Very quickly, the main attention shifted from what Fergie originally said to how Meghan reacted to every moment that followed.